My name is Nicholas Kuna, and I'm going to be running a series of podcasts on brand strategy and digital marketing. If that wasn't exciting enough for you, we've got some of the best guests in the world who are going to tell us some of their wins, some of their biggest fails, and some tips and tricks they wish they knew when they started out on their journey. So if you're in marketing or sales or anything to do with communications, this is the podcast for you, and I look forward to having you join us.
Come chat with Nicholas. He'll listen to you, then he'll laugh, and then he'll cry with you. It's all in a safe space for you to speak your truth. Oh, come and chat with me.
Michael. So, welcome everyone. We've got Michael now. I'm just going to, it's Magrutsch.
Magrutsch.
Magrutsch. Okay.
Michaell Magrutsch. Yeah.
Michaell Magrutsch. Welcome, and thank you so much for making time to speak with us. I realized I haven't put my microphone on properly, so there we go. Maybe you can hear me better now. Michael,
Much better.
I would like to start off just by going through a little bit of your background. Our discussion today, just to frame it, is going to be about a very interesting topic you brought up, which is on rebranding. So looking at how Twitter is rebranding to X, how HBO has done rebranding to HBO Max. So just discussions around that. But I'm interested in the artistic process that you could bring to this and your sort of out of the box thinking. That's I think what we'll be discussing, and it might meander along a little bit about that. But why don't we start with who you are, what makes you, and then we can delve into the marketing and branding discussions.
Okay. And we can also do this anytime. We can make this about the rebranding thing that's going on right now, and we can do the other stuff later.
Yeah.
So I was born in Vienna, in Austria. I was a sick child. I went to school with 7. I'm totally neurodiverse. I still am. I wrote 6 books and have the computer read it to me. I can't read books, so I wrote them though. I am completely not fit for any system because I work on my own rhythm. I work with my biorhythm, I guess. I wasn't aware of that, biorhythm, what that is. But I live in the moment, and I wasn't even prepared for this. And you just said, "Let's do it." I do it. Yeah. So yeah. I'm never prepared for anything, and that trained me to be completely not. Everybody is affected by system, by the tribe, right?
Yeah.
But my system value is to have a perspective that helps systems see what they're doing, especially the humans in the system, because without humans, the system is irrelevant. Every system, every government, every business, anything is irrelevant without human. Yeah. So to exchange human now with AI makes no sense at all, because systems have to live, can only exist when humans work for them, give them money, whatever. So if you give all the money to systems, where the people making money? So we are in a systemic insanity right now.
Yeah.
That we realize, that the world is realizing. It's not just Germany, not just Norway, not America. Everybody is realizing this. Yeah. It takes too much. It takes too long to get what you want to, where you want to get to. So in the old days, you fill out one form. Now you have to fill out a book. And then you might not get the product that you want because somebody gives you a time frame and squeezes you on that you make the wrong decision. Yeah. So systems are not here to support us, but we are here to support systems. So go back to the branding. So I'm completely self-taught. I have no education. I escaped into art because the only way where I felt humanly accepted is in a place where it doesn't matter what race, what sexuality, what politics you do. It's about the product. It's about the play, for example, or it's about the painting. It's about the music. It's not about anything else. And if you're, and I'm just saying, if you're a woman that plays a guy, because we can't find an old guy that plays the old guy. Yeah. And this is a young woman. She plays the old guy. That's how we do. We are collaborative creator animals of nature.
Yeah.
We are part of nature. That's why we can save it. So go ahead.
When it comes to art, and I think obviously some of the best artists in the world have been neurodivergent, as you mentioned. In this
Right.
new era that we've got, where everything is, we're looking to the next quarter, next month. It has to be done in very short time periods. How does this affect you as an artist? Because you have to make money, obviously, because you're not doing this as a charitable exercise, but you also want to create something. And you said something very interesting in one of your quotes here. It was actually from Robert Evans, where he said, "We don't strive for commercial, we went for original. We fell on our asses on some of them, but we also touched magic." How do you touch magic in a art industry where you have a budget and you have 2 weeks to deliver it?
Okay, so this is what solved my book, Smart of Art. There's two things in the art. And Robert Evans, as you know, I worked with him and co-produced with him and lived in his house. So he was a great humanitarian. I didn't like I always wanted to be a big producer, and then lived with him. And then I said, this is not what I expected. Because he was so under stress, you have no idea what stress he went. Exactly like you and me making the paycheck. And there's two things. There's the art product, which is treated like a commodity, like any business bringing out a new bicycle and trying a new bicycle helmet. We create art. Only we are attached to it because we're really trying to honestly make something very unique to us and something that is one of a one. That's not like a bicycle where I have a million. And I think the magic comes when you separate. This is what was missing in the arts. The artists don't separate art creation and art product. The commodity. See, if I'm systemically working for, let's say, design company, and I want to create, we're talking about brand. So let's talk about, I'm going to crank out a logo. So when I was young, the logo was any brand logo was, I would say, 1,000 euros, 1,000 euros to 5,000 euros. That's what the range was 30 years ago. Today, you get for $20. You go to any of the AI or even normal engines, and on Fiverr, you get for $30, $40. Some kid in Taiwan is going to crank you out a logo. Do you have a discussion of what that logo means, what it represents, how fast it has to be exchanged is another thing. But I have my logo, Michael with that sideshell. I've never changed it. I've done it once and never changed it. And no, I didn't want. I had no idea to do it, to modernize it or anything, because it's still me. When I look at it, I said, that is me. I changed it a moment. It's like the Mercedes star, they're so fine. They changed the Mercedes star, but it's so fine. And I think it wasn't even necessary, but they did, because for print and to make it more, more stronger. But the magic actually happens when you allow it to happen and when you're not stressed. Because when the human is stressed, and this is what you have now, when I put you in a corner, you defend yourself. You're inhumane. When your financial needs, I put you in the corner, and your financial needs are survival or not. How can you make a decision? This is why people make such crazy decisions.
But Michael, I must ask you, do you think Picasso was a relaxed person? Was Salvador Dali a relaxed person? Was the magic sometimes, I understand that being in a calm space, or maybe it's not, maybe it's things like financial stress, the war, that's what, spurred that beautiful Guernica painting and so on. Stress, struggle, and pressure is generally what stimulates us a lot. Are you talking about perhaps a different type of stress?
I'm talking systemic pressure. I'm not talking.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm talking systemic artificial stress, not
Okay.
ambiguity. So when I talk to you, and let's say you would attack me right now, yeah, that is ambiguous. You know, that's a good stress because I have to learn to stand up for myself. When you say you have to that or you don't get a paycheck, that entails 15,000 things that I cannot pay the food for my kids. This is putting me. That is not an ambiguity to jump into cold water, for example,
Yeah.
or to ambiguity is good for the. It's a good stress, and stress that is artificial that the system just made up.
Yeah.
You know, we feel that internally. That's not good stress.
Michael, that discussion about stress is a very important one, because I don't necessarily think that with deadlines and timelines that are being given by clients and customers now, that we are necessarily able to give them the value that they need or the kind of quality that we want. I think, as you said, these artificial structures that are being put up are disadvantageous to creating great art and great work. For me, it's a huge frustration. You spoke about those uh, logos being 1,000, 25,000. I mean, I worked at Interbrand, and we created some of the largest brands in the world. And the brand manuals were $250,000 with a rebrand process. I can't charge that now. Twitter rebrands that overnight with a X taken from stock art. How can you compete against that? And is he wrong using something that has before had zero meaning, but is now just it's just slapped it over Twitter and there's a new brand? It is a brand immediately without the 250,000, $1 million, $2 million branding process. Who's right and who's wrong?
It's not about right or wrong. It's about, and now I'm showing you my superpower. Okay.
Okay.
So separated in system centric versus human centric versus system relevance. In system relevance, the system has no feeling for anything. It's just about the system generating more money, generating stuff. He uses the system to make money because attention is everything. So the Twitter logo, the people that created the Twitter logo systems need something human relatable till it's famous. And then you can make even Homebox Office, right? Became Max. It doesn't matter because it's used for an attention grab. Attention is more now valuable than the fact that he made that Twitter, which is, and I've heard a lot of brand managers and really the brand kings talking about, if you give me $10 billion and 10 years, I cannot promise you to create a brand like the Twitter bird and the name where people actually feel connected with it. So nobody can do it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't important for him. Elon has all the money.
Yeah.
It is not important for him. His brand is more whatever his idea, ego, is more important than that people got used to something, finally adapted to something. That's what I keep preaching. I said, systems need us so much because if humans don't adapt to them, they're not working because every human is an individual. So now you get a consensus on Twitter, on that bird, on that thing and what it stands for. In addition, every news, it got so embraced, that logo. Yeah, I'm not saying the value of the company, but I'm saying it got so embraced by humanity, which that is really the value. If humans don't embrace you, you can have I know this from an artist. If you create the best work and you and I say, man, Michael, we did the greatest piece of art. And people love it. They say, you guys are the best in the world. And tomorrow somebody else comes in with the worst. So it's the human, to have the human connection, not because what attention is that people look at you. But what is in nature attention? What happens in nature? In nature, attention is either I want to mate with you, I want to connect, or I growl at you, say, get away, danger.
Yeah.
So that's attention.
Yeah.
When you have attention, always look at me, look at me, look at me, be a better whatever, and it never leads to something that our natural instincts are disrupted without a instinct. That's why everybody's talking about disruption. I said disruption is destruction if you don't know what to build.
Yeah. Well,
it's like Obama said. What did he say? Choice, or what was this? The word? I said,
not dream.
What was the word? Hope. No.
Yeah, hopey change.
That was one word.
Hope, change.
I said change. To what? It's like disrupting. To what?
Yeah.
Give me a hint. Give me a hint.
Well, they like to keep it ambiguous because then you can reach everyone, which is why I think Hillary Clinton lost the 2 elections ago. She tried to be for everyone, and if you try and be everyone's friend, you really are meaningless, and at the end have no meaning for anyone. So, but your discussion there on systems and power regarding Twitter is an interesting one. We've had a couple of discussions this week, also with other brand gurus, and one of the things that people forget is that Twitter and Elon Musk didn't come about out of thin air. They've been around for 10, 15, 20 years. Brands take time to grow. And as you said, you can basically put an X over a bird and it doesn't lose its necessarily lose its value. It could actually increase its value. So very interesting. In terms of the disruption side, and you're saying, with hope and change, all of those campaign slogans that we used. I teach here in Oslo, so I teach digital marketing, and I also do management consulting in terms of shifting brands' trajectories from 10 million to 100 million to $1 billion businesses. And I thought, let me try ChatGPT for building a course for me, because I wanted to have a look at how could I use AI. And I thought, okay, disruption. And you spoke about disruption, Michael. I said, okay, I'm not a communist, but there are lots of principles in Marx and communism that would work really well in business. So the whole point, self-reflection or self-criticism, I think is an extremely important part of it. I said, okay, the National Socialists, they did something that managed to take over the whole world almost. What did they do managerially and revolutionary-wise that was good? What did Mao do that was revolutionary and worked to bring up the masses and create, take the most populous country in the world and one of the oldest cultures in the world and turn it on its head? They destroyed everything. They burnt down churches, broke down monasteries, mosques, etc., and killed, obviously, who knows, countless people. But they changed the systems. And I know this is a slight tangent and maybe a little bit off key, but I was thinking, how can we use these new principles, these revolutionary principles in business? Because I think capitalism has focused so much on everything to do with communism is bad, and socialism, they've neglected quite a few elements. So I'm working on a program where I'm trying to look at the systems that those particular systems used to try and create new systems in this AI world where everyone's got access to absolutely everything at the press of a button. It's quite unparalleled.
Yeah, but you have that inherently. You have that inherently. You have 6 senses to connect to 8 billion people in this world. If you and I sing right now, everybody on this earth will understand if it's a happy song or a sad song. They might not like it, but everybody understands it. So why would you go reverse engineer technology? It's like saying we are equal. And we are equal by nature because nature doesn't make mistakes. And when you look at zebras, they're not going to, unless it's mating season, they don't care if it's a female or a male. The zebra doesn't look at the giraffe and say, oh, your patterning is not as nice as mine. We need to separate. The only thing we can survive this, I found through the art, through actually art giving me that answer, is making it, what is system relevant? Be aware, compartmentalize. Is this system relevant or is this human centric? Human centricity has to prevail, because without humans, there is no systems. We created them, and as a creative, you cannot submit to your own creation. You cannot build a vase and then ask her, what do you think? Was Michael's interview good or bad? The vase has no answer. It's like saying, God, come down to earth. I say, I'm going to come down to earth to understand humanity. You created you never need to come down here. So this is what we do. We have the shiny object syndrome, right? We look at New York, we look at Google, Nike, all these brands, and said, oh my God, I can't believe we created that. Yes, because you're unconscious that we are a collaborative creator animal by nature. That's why we love creating. We love to tinker around. The CEO that works 80 hours a week, what does he do on the weekend? Works in the garden, makes his hand dirty, works on his car, tinkers around, or is with friends. We are humans. We need to get back to the human, zoom out, not abandon system and technology, but use it to lift our human potential, which you are blessed with because you're in the Scandinavians are more human-centric anyway, So you're blessed with that. But basically, I think that's the thing. And ChatGPT, by the way, has unbelievable increase on bad solution because it's self-learning. And we bake in our fallibility, our mistakes into technology. We're baking that in. And I heard it's going bankrupt.
Yeah. So ChatGPT, being the first mover in this market, obviously is going to have the whole world's eyeballs on it. So every little mistake they make, they are the pioneers. So I wouldn't be too hard on them myself. Microsoft is also pumping billions of dollars into that, but there are a whole bunch of competitors coming up in that space. So I think we will get a better version of ChatGPT soon. Now, but talking about the AI side, I purely see AI as a new vacuum cleaner or a washing machine or iron. I think it is here to make our lives easier. I think those that are concerned that it's going to take all our jobs and is going to make us irrelevant, absolutely not. It means more opportunities for artists, and I think that what AI is going to do, similar to the arts and crafts movement after the Industrial Revolution, I think we're going to see more and more people going back to their roots, going back to creating one-off pieces, back to creating their own things, back to farming, back to more authenticity. Because all that AI shows us is that it's all of human learning is available to us all now. And actually, it's not that complicated unless you want to fly to space and solve cancer. So there are lots of things like that. So I'm very positive on AI. I think it's going to take away a lot of work that we shouldn't be doing. Like you said, before you'd sign one document, now you've got to fill 20 pages, click 30 things. Perhaps AI can just remove all of that for us and make our life easier again.
That's
So
what we hope.
Yeah.
You speaking for all the people, because everybody that works in systems hopes that the system work to filling out a book is falling away. That everybody hopes that. But I'm saying, remember when we got the PC? When we got the PC, what happened? What are you going to do with all the money the PC is going to make for you? What are you going to do with all the time that PCs gives you? And it just made more work and more time, because you got perhaps 20 letters in your company before a day, and now you get 200 emails.
Yeah.
And when AI comes and writes the emails, like, I think you're gonna have 400 emails that you have to decipher because you think they're coming from somebody like me.
Well,
you
you'll
know,
just be
and
using
so
AI
I
to read all your emails for you, so you won't have to read it. And then the AI will respond
yeah,
to the
but
AI.
I don't
Nothing will
trust
get
it that it
done.
can interpret it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. That's what
Mm.
I think. And we controlling the AI because it seems like that's where it's going. We need humans to control AI. That will take the most time. And the problem with that is people don't want to do that. That's again a system making the system function. People don't want
Well,
to do it. So
well,
if you
Michael,
have to control the work of AI, yeah,
I'm going to give another.
that's a problem.
I'll give another example, which maybe will highlight why I don't think we should be too worried about AI. Instagram, when it first came out, allowed everyone and their dog to take photographs and filters, and the world went from perhaps 100 million photos a year to 100 billion photographs a year. Uh, and some people said, "Oh, well, the quality is not going to be as good." I think what Instagram has done has been fabulous for the art world, because it shows what is trash and it shows what is beautiful, and it is improved art appreciation, I believe, or the appreciation of good photography, good shots, good setting up of scenes and that. So I think it's a positive. So the same thing with AI. Uh, it's how you use it. So we still need photographers. You can still see the difference in quality between great photography and something you've taken on your iPhone. So yeah, as an artist, I'm sure you use Instagram as well to showcase your work, but you're not getting paid for it, and it's not it's not going to take away your Instagram's not going to take away your livelihood.
I think Instagram did a great thing, exactly like you said. Let me reword it. In how I understand it, it's aesthetic. You know, we all have an aesthetic muscle that's inherent in us. That's a part of our creator animal. And the Mickey Mouse that you liked when you were a little kid, and the funny, happy songs, you listen to classical music and read Brecht. You know what I mean? It's like you have an aesthetic muscle that grows, that gets appreciation from the deeper, from the more gravitas. Yeah. And Instagram is unbelievable in training that muscle. I always say that example. You sit at a Turner painting in London, and you sit in front of this Turner painting with this huge frigid. When I saw that first, I had to sit down. I really said, now I know why these seats are in museums, right? And I was recently in, like 2 years ago, saw my friend was there, and he made because he knows I like that painting, and he showed me that, and kids were sitting on their phone, absorbing that with like that was no problem. They looked at it, then they went on their phone, then they looked at it again. They weren't like blown away like where I said, "Oh my God, this
Yeah.
is insane." Yeah. And it's not that they're insensitive. They're just so used, and they can scroll what they like. Our recognition time is so fast now that we can scroll thousands of pictures and stop what we want to see. And I think that's what Instagram did. But also, it lives of this. I mean, that's a high price to pay, because the people that are artists didn't have a refined eye, the customers are now having a refined eye.
Mm.
And they say, and I see it for myself. If I can see it on Instagram, I don't have to buy it. I have nothing in my house is pretty clean and empty because I'm doing a lot of creative work. I'm creating all the time. And I like the quiet space. But I had always paintings up from me. I don't have any paintings anymore because if I have an aesthetic hunger, I go on Instagram or Tumblr, look at the art, go on websites or whatever, and feed my aesthetic beast in me that wants to that longs for that.
Well, I
So it
think
didn't do anything for business.
Well, I think you brought up an important point there, because I was quite a big collector of art. I was saying my youth, not about 10 years ago, I
Yep.
started collecting quite aggressively, and it became more and more of a struggle for me to find something that stood out, art that really uh, made me stop, like that Turner painting. And now the art that stops me is my children's drawings and my children's paintings. But I think
Exactly.
your point of scrolling through Instagram, getting your visual pornography almost, in terms of, wow, that's so beautiful, I love that design. But creating it yourself, democratize Instagram or art has been democratized more, because now you could do it yourself, or you can build something up yourself at home, and it has to your art, your surroundings change so quickly. You cannot necessarily get stuck into a 70s style, an 80s style, a 90s style, Baroque or Rococo style. I think art has been democratized, which is good and bad, but that's the system that we're living in now. So let me go to this now. How do you make money in the art world then? If, for example, say you are a customer, I mean, you're an artist, so but how do you get customers to buy your art? What are they buying? Are they buying a square? Are they buying a piece of marble? Are they buying a part of you, Michael?
You mean, well, on the first of all, I don't sell any art anymore because I mean, only if you I sell art only on. I have no art left. All my
Okay.
art is gone. I created. So if anybody wants a piece of art, I have thousands of paintings on my old Instagram. They took, but you can get through my Instagram on the Instagram. Thousands of paintings. Uh, I mean, I'm in my 60s, so and I did always was very diligent on making photos of my stuff. So you look at this and say, in this direction, make something for me, and I know this person, then I make a custom piece for them. I don't do create something that you get it because I have done lithographs or even art, and I had like 75 pieces at home at one time, so I needed the storage to have my art. I mean, because that was all within that evolution of Instagram, and all my friends have harder and harder time to sell art.
Yeah.
So uh, when they sell something from me, it's always me. There's always from me. That's why I say you need to go so deep. If you have a brand, your company should be an expression of you, because we can't afford anymore to do companies or brands or whatever to make money. We
Yeah.
need to make it, and there needs to be a total reflection of us. And when we hand it over, we hand over, we're done with this logo. We're done with what we want to say with this, with the language and everything. Then we hand it over, and that's all you can do. You hand it over and let it get its own life. And there's nothing you did wrong. See, this is the thing. When you think you go wrong, and then you go back into the past, you create it so that you are happy and the client is happy. You both,
Yeah.
you never let anything out, and the client and you are happy. And then you get it out and let it be. Unless you see something really that you weren't aware of, but you just let it be, let it ride. That's
Well,
what I think.
well, that's
It
why
just
Well, that's why I can't get a tattoo, because I always see something nicer the next day. So I'm like, I would never, I'd be really annoyed saying, damn it, that somebody's got a better tattoo than me. And the same thing, at least you can change your wall art. Now, I'm not sure if if you know, there was a bit of a brouhaha around the amount of money that was paid for the Nike logo, the Nike swoosh. I think
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
designer, it was a junior designer, was paid $60 or $200. It was a small amount, and people are saying, this logo is worth billions now. That person was badly done by. What would your response to that be? She was paid for the design that she made before Nike was famous and so on. Uh, how much ownership should a designer have over a logo, and how much, and based on what we're discussing now, how much
You
is the
won't like
design
my
of a
you
logo
won't
worth?
like my answer. You won't like my answer.
Go.
I think nothing. I literally, I think the reason why is because that she could experience. That woman will never, ever have, if it was a woman, you said sure.
Yeah.
So I say it's a woman, will never have any self-doubt in her life. Never.
Yeah.
She might suffer that she can't replicate that truth, but she will never. Art gives you so much. We are all a valve, and the consciousness pushes through us. And so nobody owns anything because it's just comes through us. I mean, I don't own anything. I just but I'm a vehicle to let stuff through and to constantly have good things. I don't want to claim ownership for something I let through. You know, I want to. You can pay me for my ability to allow that through. If that you say I'm hiring Michael because when I hire Michael, I can be sure all the T's are squared and all, and all the dots are done. But for my creation, and do you really care about your creation? I mean, once they're done, the wonder is the creation. I always say, milk the creation process of creation. That's the real value. And the people and artists just throw that away and say, "Oh, but my bicycle has to be beautiful, or my whatever milk carton did I make is beautiful." It's forget it. Yeah. Because you're not responsible for what others think about it. The Nike swoosh might as well. You and I would have loved the Nike swoosh, and the whole world would hated it. And everybody likes X. There's no right and wrong in this. That's systemic thinking. Going into the systemic thinking. Should you own that? I think if it was me and you, people like me and you only, I would say artists have to be paid for the vehicle that they are, for the shamans they are, what they let through. Yeah, they should be never need to worry about food and shelter. I'm not saying make them rich, but I say no artists. If you are an artist, true artist, should be paid. Should be have to look for money or thing because they make our world another place. I mean, if there's anything, it's sex and art that make you heaven on earth. There's the two things. And they come both are out of the same energy. But like you said, it's an aesthetic orgasm. Yeah, it comes out of that. It's
aesthetic orgasm. I like that. I think we need to write that down. Yeah. The contrast to that is the Deutsche Bank logo. You know, that slash in a square. And I remember
I'm not the Deutsche Bank. I'm not clear. It's a slash. I think when you said slash and square, but I can't recognize. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, have a quick look at it now. The interesting thing about this is the Nike logo costs. I'll put up the correct number on the screen later during editing. But if you look at that original Deutsche Bank logo, that cost $100,000, I think, and was done in half an hour. Mm-hmm. So you contrast the two. Who is right and who is wrong? And, again, as an artist and a designer, your value, he could get, that was 30 years of experience, life experience, and understanding of customers. And he could do it. He could probably done it in 15 minutes or 5 minutes. So he spent too much time on it. But it shows the value that can be ascribed to the person and the thinking process. So whether it's a $60 logo or a $100,000 logo, the business also builds that brand. And I think lots of people in the creative industry forget that as well, is that we are part of the system and we are one part of it. We other people are responsible for nurturing and building these brands and logos, which is quite a fascinating process.
Wonderful you said that. It's wonderful you said that because Apple, let's say it was just the Apple, right?
Yeah.
A lot of things have some simple, very minimalistic things. Apple is the whole culture. It is always the culture. So I that's why I'm saying, it's not who is right or wrong.
Yeah.
Also, when we are the valves, I said, if you are a valve that is really clear, there's no sand in it or anything, you get the Nike logo. if you're a dirty thing, you get X because you force yourself to go to simplistic because you are not getting that from plugging into the consciousness. See, and if somebody is, that's why you are so crazy about your kids' art, because your kids' art, that is pure. That is so pure. Whatever comes in their imagination of a house it's like off center, and humans have blue hair and whatever. Their observation of reality is so pure, even though their craft is not good, their skill is not good.
But
the
Michaell,
expression.
but Michaell, you spoke about the joy in the craft. What do the children's art? They are told to use different colors, use different techniques, use their fingers. The actual end product generally is not the most important. It is that process. It is that enjoyment of the artistic process. And you touched on that earlier. And I think that is a great insight for designers and artists. And this is, again, I'll bring it back to the arts and crafts movement, where William Morris and folks like that thought that the industrial age with mass production removed all of that, the craftsman and the craftsmanship in chairs, in wallpaper, in the daily things that we use. So they had lost all of their meaning, their background, where they came from, and you knew this was made with love. Nothing is made with love that comes out of IKEA, for example. I'm sure that the original designers, yes, but they mass produced, and there's no love in those items. And I think people can feel that as well in art, and that's why perhaps you'll buy a particular piece because you know the love, the experience, the suffering or the place where you bought it. All of that has meaning in it and gives it way more worth than its intrinsic value.
I think IKEA has the energy, is a conversion of this Scandinavic energy. I think the lifestyle, the humanity. I think the success of IKEA is the reflection of the humanistic energy that's in the Scandinavic people, and that's why people can humanly relate all over the world with that style, because that's our language. That's what I said. We have six senses, and we can talk to all these people. And you have to admit, Scandinavia has the most humanistic anywhere in the world, unless you're a Tibetan monk or something. And I don't think that's also systemic with religion. But I think it's not perfect, Scandinavia, but it is about we are set up to actually feel each other, think each other, be tactile craftsmen, touch things. And in that experience is the knowledge, not what comes out of it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not the product. It's always the process. Life isn't an endpoint. It's not a final point. Life is a process. And when we're done, we say bye-bye and we go somewhere else, wherever we go. It's not a religious thing. Yeah. It's just, it's a process. It's wonderful. I mean, and then you get fulfilled. See, the fulfillment is the human-centric. So for all your Scandinavian friends, success is system relevant, with a goal to achieve, or what we said, every quarter do it more and more and more. But fulfillment is when you actually watch yourself creating this. Oh, I took this. Why did this paper feel so good? Let me check out why this. Oh, it was a 400. It was a different thing. Oh, it was from that Japanese company. That's why. Yeah, because the Japanese, they look at the tactical. They look at the sensory. Yeah, the sensory thing. That's what life is. That's what's enriching you, and that's what's fulfilling you. Yeah. And there's no fulfillment in eggs. There's no. It looks like a porn. It looks like a porn thing. It's like a systemic sex thing. Porn.
Yeah. Well, so I've been in Norway for about a year. Prior to this, I was in Malaysia for 4 years, a little bit in Taiwan, and then South Africa, where I grew up. And being in Scandinavia has been a completely different. It's like a fantasy land, basically. And I've had my longest ever holiday working in South Africa, you work very hard. In Malaysia, you work very hard. Asian sort of thinking and so on. But the work-life balance and the, like you said, craft and simplicity here in Norway, and making sure you get the most out of life versus just work, is what should be emulated around the world. And I hope, obviously it's a small country, small population, very wealthy, and I wish that on every country, to be honest, because life is and the way of life here is I think very humanistic focused, or human focused. So, Michael, I want to thank you for spending time with me. This is it's gone really quickly. I'm sure we could go on much more, and I'm sure we're going to have another chat.
Anytime we can repeat it.
This was great. I really enjoyed it, and I think what we'll do is we'll drill down into some more elements and go into slightly more details on your books, because I'd love to go into those in a bit more detail. I'll put up some links to your books as well for folks to look at it, but we'll definitely, I think, do a bit of a deep dive into that and some of the ways that you, with your particular working style or personality, have managed to get 5 books out pre-AI as well. Which is, very complicated. Yep. Now anyone can churn out a book. So I'd love to go into your process and just understand a little bit more about your creative style and your thinking style. So thank you so much.
Come chat with Nicholas. He'll listen to you, then he'll laugh, and then he'll cry with you. It's all in a safe space for you to speak your truth. Oh, come and chat with